Folks, I promise you this video about 7:30. You're going to get it 8:15. I'm really sorry. This is my third go at it. I did it earlier. You know I never re-record. But I made a big mistake in the middle of it. And it weren't the end of the day. I could have left it in. But also I was waffling near the end. I know I waffle from time to time, but it was too much. The last minute was too much waffle. So I thought I'll bin that one. Then I re-recorded it without the message. And somehow I've wiped the data. It was uploading should I say. They call it uploading. And I've wiped it accidentally and I can't find it. It's lost. So I'll start again. Right. I've teased this one. Well, I mentioned it today. You could say I teased it yesterday. It's a little tip I've got for yourselves, folks. You may be interested, you may not. If you're not, then no problem. Pass it by. When I say tip, I'm not giving horses to follow. I'm certainly not doing that. And I certainly don't want your money. I'm not into all that. Don't worry about that at all. You wouldn't want to follow my tips. I follow my tips, and I'm sometimes wishing I wasn't because I lose more than I win. But I'm a fool for following myself. I don't know what it is, but I tend to believe in myself. I put the money down, and the bookie takes it off me. Anyway, less of that. Let's stop waffling. I'm waffling before I've started. Right, I've got a tip for you. This might not suit you all, but I've got a little in. I've got something that I do that normally when I do it wins me money. I've not done it recently. I'm going to start again in about 4 weeks' time. When the flat season really gets going and the better class of animal comes out, more animals that I'm more used to, mainly Saturday racing, I'm going to be doing it, and I'll do it nearly every Saturday till the end of the flat season. And I do it in the big meetings, the big jumps meetings, or flat meetings. I tend to do it every Cheltenham and every Royal Ascot and your Glorious Goodwoods, and I do well most every meeting. If Cheltenham is at a 4-day meeting, I'll win probably 2 days out of the 4 doing this. Ascot being a 5-day, I'll win 2 or 3 out of the 5. I always tend to. So I'll tell you what I do, and it's up to you whether you do it or not. Now it's similar in some respects. I think I've only worked this out yesterday. I'm doing something similar to what the Glorious does, Jeff at the Glorious Uncertainty, where he picks a winner of a race, or tries to pick the winner, but he picks a second horse in the same race to place. The idea being, if his horse wins, great, he's well in front. If it doesn't, and the placed horse does actually place, he covers his stake. Obviously, if he doesn't have the winner of the placed horse, he's lost. This, what I'm going to suggest to you, is something similar in a roundabout way. And I mentioned it earlier on the scores in the doors. At the end of the scores on the doors, I said it might be an idea for Peter Fillingham to look at. He was given his shorties, his short prices, which is now knocked on the head for the next 2 or 3 weeks, while the season sorts itself out on the ground and the transition from jumps to flat. And I get that. But he's trying to pick a winner in an 8, 10, 12 horse race. Often the favourites, yes they are, but they've got 8 or 9 other horses that can beat them. And more often than not lately, they are beating them. So he's gone for a different tact for the next few weeks. I would suggest, Peter, because of your racing knowledge, because it's better than mine. Somebody said the other day that I'm pretty shrewd. I'm not shrewd at all with racing. Honestly, folks, I don't look at speed figures. I don't know anything about them. I don't look at ratings like Mickey D does. I don't do any of that stuff. I tend to bet the horses that I've seen. I remember what I've seen and I like what I like, and I follow horses. I don't follow them off a cliff. If I bet them before and they've won, if there's something the next time that I fancy more, I just discard them. But I look on what they've won, how they've won, and what I think they're capable of next time. And if I think they're capable of winning the next race, I'll bet them. And if I don't, I'll bet something else. I do okay, but I lose more than I win. I'm not a winning punter. Probably because I've got no system as such. It's just these and trying to remember, and my memory's not the best in the world. But I come up with this bet a while ago, and I think it might help someone like yourself, Peter, because you're trying to pick the winner of a race. Because you've got a greater racing knowledge than me, as has Mickey, I think if you looked at this, I think you'd do well with it. Because it's match bets I'm looking at. Match bets, one horse to beat another, which I know none of you ever mentioned. But I think it'd be great for you, Peter, because you've got a knowledge of racing. You've got different angles to look at the best horse in the race. Even the Glorious would be good at this, but it'd suit Peter even more. And I think, even though every favourite isn't running as it should, I think if you get an 8, 10, 12 horse race, and you've got 2 vying for favouritism, and you look through all the form and look at all the hoops that you want them to come through, Peter, to pick your horse eventually, I think you, 8 or 9 times out of 10, given the choice of 2 horses at about the same price, would normally pick the better one of the 2. I think I might be wrong. Now, most of these match bets are 5 to 6 any year 2, so it's just the kind of prices you're giving now, but your horse doesn't have to win, it only has to beat the other horse. I think it could be good for you on your shorties using the systems that you use. Anyway, not more of that. Let me get into the bet. This is what I do. BETWAY have this thing. They've had it for 2 or 3 years now, and as I say, I only tend to do it on Saturdays when the racing's of a better quality and with horses that I know. And I do match bets. I've said it to a couple of people before, one horse to beat the other. I love it. I like them because one on its own is not particularly great, two's not bad, but three is great because if all three win, it's like getting a 4, 5 or 6 to 1 winner depending on what prices you take. And often you can get 3 out of 3, not all the time, but reasonably often. Now what Betway do is if you have a £25 ACCA, I sound like Jeff there repeating it, you get £10 in free bets. You get one on a Saturday, a fiver, one on a Monday of a fiver, and you can combine them as one bet. And I come up with a strategy only 2 days ago that I thought I'd share with you. It's not what I do, but I think it's what I might now do going forward. Now normally, you see, an ACCA for Betway on this bet is anything from a treble upwards. You've got to do a treble. An ACCA to me is normally a 4-fold, 5-fold, 6-fold, but they class it as a treble. Okay? And I regularly do that. It's a £25 ACCA. Now many of you might not want to bet 25 quid, but bear in mind whether it goes down or not, you get your tenner in free bet. So even if your bet wins, you get a tenner free bets. But if it goes down, you've got a chance with your tenner. I've come up with a strategy to get the bulk of your money back, and I'll tell it you now. And if you think it's a good idea, maybe have a look at it. If you don't, let me know, and that's fine. Nothing in it for me at all. I'm not sponsored by Betway, I promise you that. So yeah, what I do a £25 ACCA, which is 3 horses, normally all around about 5 to 6, okay? And as I say, every big meeting, I tend to do pretty well. There'll be a couple of days I'll get one up a day, and the other 2 days I may not. But I'll always get me tenner free bets at the end of it all. And I like it. I think it's a crackerjack of a bet, but I think you can only get the free bet once a week. That's why I normally in the week do it on a Saturday only. Now I come up with some prices 2 days ago. I've never done this before. Your ACCA has to come to a minimum odds of 3 to 1. You've got to hit 3 to 1. So what I would look at is 2 at 5 to 6, 5 to 6, 1 to beat another, 5 to 6, 1 to beat another, and a 1 to 3 shot. 5 to 6, 5 to 6 and 1 to 3 come out 3.48 to 1. So you're getting over your 3 to 1. If you get it up for 25 quid, you'll cop £112.04. So what you're doing there, 75, 85, you're winning 87 quid. If you go down, you've still got your tenner in free bets. Now what I do with that tenner, you can bet as 2 fivers, you can bet as a tenner, you can do a single, you can do a double, you can do whatever you want. You can do an each way bet, don't matter what you do. I put the 2 fivers together, and the following week I'll have another free ACCA. And I'll normally have an ACCA at sort of 3 at 5 to 6, because I'm thinking to myself, well, it's a free bet, it's a tenner I wouldn't have had. 3 at 5 to 6, you don't get your stake back, but you're getting a few bob back. But for this, something I concocted a couple of days ago, this is what I would do. This is a bit of your glorious uncertainty territory. I can't even say that then. If with your tenner free bet, you go at 3 horses at 1 to 2, because you don't have to hit 3 to 1 in this, because it's your free bet. You've got to use your free bet, you can't get the money. But if you go at 3 at 1 to 2, because you don't get your stake back, I've worked out you get back £23.75. Now, that means overall, if your main bet's gone down, and you put this on and you get it up, you've lost £1.25, but you've had a chance at winning over 100 quid. I think it's a good bet. I think many of you watching this channel have got a good take on horse racing and know a fair bit about horses. Many of you are pretty knowledgeable. I think you are anyway. If on a Saturday, let's say, you've got a choice of, say, 4 meetings, 5 meetings, and Betway normally do a match bet in every single race. At the big meetings, they might do 2 or 3 in a race. They often do 2. They don't always do 3. It's Betfair that tend to do more per race. But I like Betway because of this £10 free bet. But I think if you're looking at 2 races, one horse to beat another, both the same odds, I think with a reasonable amount of knowledge, there's every chance, many weeks, you'll get them 2 up. Your third bet at 1 to 3, did I say 1 to 3? Yeah, 1 to 3. Well, if one of the match bets is 1 to 3, the one it's against is probably going to be about 7 to 4, 5 to 2. 9 times out of 10 you should be winning that. So that takes care of itself. So all you're looking for is 2 horses in 2 races to beat these 2 other horses. And I think if you know what you're doing, you can get that up. And I think you'll probably do like me, probably get it up, say, 50% of the time. But the beauty of it is you've got your safety net, where you get your tenner free bet, that you can bet the following week, and you can either try to get your money back with it, or if your original bet's gone in, you can do another one at, say, 3 at sort of 5 to 6s. Or you can do a single. You can do a single with your £10 free bet. You can bet on anything. You could do a single at 5 or 6 to 1 because it wasn't your money anyway. You could put it on an even money shot, you know, and get an extra tenner on top of what you've already run because you don't get the stake back. It's a free bet. But I think that's a good strategy. So bet 1, 25 quid, 5 to 6, 5 to 6, 1 to 3. Bet 2 with your free tenner, 3 at 1 to 2. brings you back £23.75, a loser of £1.25. But you've had two hackers there giving you a chance. Well, you've had your first hacker giving you a chance to get a decent win. And if it comes off, you're in clover. And you've got enough there. If you get it 1 week out of 4, you're always in front, aren't you? You get that up at them prices, 5 to 6, 5 to 6, 1 to 3. You only have to get that up 1 week out of 4 to be in front. Because remember, you're winning £112. What did I say? £112 and 4 pence. So after 4 weeks, you get one up in 4 weeks, you're £12 in front. I know it's not a lot, but it's in front, isn't it? So have a look at it, see what you think. Let me know in the comments, is it worth you doing or not? I'm going to be doing it probably from next week onwards. Whether you do or not is up to you. But I think it's a good bet. I think the tenner that you get back makes it worthwhile. You've got some give you free bets, but there's conditions to them all. Sky now, they used to give I think you bet 25, you get a fiver. Now they've changed it to 30 and you get a fiver. Now and again you get free bets off Bet365. There's no conditions to them, you normally just get them. But now I believe you've got to use them within a week. This I don't think you have to use within a week. I don't think you have to. You'll need to check that. You might have to use it within a week, so just check that. But as I say, I normally put my hacker on the Saturday, and I use the £10 free hacker the following Friday or Saturday. But then I do a new one the following Saturday of 25 quid, because I want to try and get the tenner back nearly every week. So every week when the season starts properly, I'll have a 25 quid hacker. I'll normally have 3 at 5 to 6, so that's why some weeks will go down. I think I'm going to do it that way myself in future, and I'm going to do a bit of the glorious and give yourself a safety net. So from next week for me, 5 to 6, 5 to 6, 1 to 3, and with my free bet 1 to 2, 1 to 2, 1 to 2, I'm going to do it and see if it works. I think I'll make that pay on a monthly basis till they realise what I'm doing and close my account down.